Hello, everybody. Polar Lights magazine, or I think it's a web magazine. I'm not sure. My name is Jez Bonham, or Jez Dylan Bonham. I'm a singer-songwriter, musician. Got an album out called Thoughts into Sounds. Check it out, Spotify. Check it out on Tidal, Apple Music, whatever. Tidal's the best, though, because we get paid more. 0.1 cent per play. I know this is way too much of introducing myself in one sentence, but anyways. Okay, let's get into this. Well then, yes to both. I've experienced mental illness, depression and anxiety, bipolar in myself, obviously, and I've seen it in actually quite a few different people. How I found out was there was a point where I literally could not leave the house. So I was essentially too scared. It was like agoraphobia, but it wasn't agoraphobia. It was from anxiety. I couldn't be in traffic. I couldn't have people around me. I couldn't have people looking at me. I couldn't do your most basic. I couldn't even go into a grocery store. It's too much. And I know, it's so hard for someone who's never had these problems to understand that. It just sounds like so foreign. It's so difficult to explain to people who haven't experienced it, but that's how I found out anyways. And then those were the symptoms I experienced as well, so I answered that part of the question. Obviously I couldn't sleep either, because it travels with you, right? The mental problems you don't have to be out, or didn't have to be out in public for them to travel with me. I can't. I'm sure I heard about depression many times on TV, and that was pretty common. But generalized anxiety disorder wasn't I didn't know anything about it until I had some family members tell me about it. So maybe that was the first time I really heard about it. And it was really good in retrospect. It was hard at the time, but to talk about it, or to even hear about it from someone else, especially if they think that you might be suffering from it, when you're in denial that you have any problems. Well, see, that's a tough one, because it generally doesn't get portrayed properly. And what happens is anything in cinema or in the arts, books, whatever, even music, glorifies it, even if they're trying not to. It still makes it, what's that show that came out, 13 Reasons Why or something like that? Can't remember what it was, but it was about suicide in teens. I don't know what their intentions were, but you put a whole bunch of teens in any type of like in a good looking thing. Everyone's good looking, and she's not actually gone because she's there, but she's like, it's her, like, as if this is some thing that could actually happen when you're watching that, when the truth is tremendously more savage and horrible than you can portray in cinema. It's impossible to get to the levels that people like us, anyone who actually deals with this, we can't even describe it properly for how people actually feel. It's impossible unless you have dealt with panic attacks and these horrible different things yourself. So, no, I don't really think it's portrayed well in cinema, but not necessarily even on purpose. Just can't be done yet that I've seen. Well, I think it's already being reduced. I mean, the fact that we're doing this right now is really good. The fact that you guys have started this is a great sign. This initiative, and it's obviously you're not the first, and you won't be the last. It's happening more and more and more. People are talking about it. I think we have a week dedicated to it, which is kind of messed up. I was about to swear. I don't know if I can swear now, but kind of messed up because it should just be an everyday thing. I've had people tell me, anxiety's bullshit. I know, this one they didn't know that I was suffering from it, but that it's nothing. I don't believe in it and all this shit. And ironically, that person ended up having panic attacks and having to leave work because they ended up suffering from anxiety disorders and went on medication. Maybe that was a defense mechanism. They were feeling it and were like, I don't believe it. I don't, who knows? But the best way to reduce the stigma is talk about it. And that's what we're doing. But individuals need to talk about their own experiences, not talking about it in general. That will help, but not nearly as much as you telling people how you feel about it. And don't obviously talk to people if they aren't willing to listen, because that'll backfire on you. And you'll think, oh, see, look at this. These people don't even give a shit. But people do give a shit. You just need to talk to the right people and know when to talk about it. You can tell whoever you want. And one of the best things maybe to do is to, don't make it an attention thing for yourself. It's not about getting attention. It's about, you can put it on your social media that you are struggling with this and you'll be shocked how much people reach out. But don't make it about an attention thing, because there are people who do that, maybe that don't actually suffer, and they're ruining it for the rest of us. But, if you're actually suffering, then there's no shame in talking about it. I learned that personally. Oh man, well, I've gone through the ringer since 2016. It's been horrible for me. But I've been coming back from the dead, essentially. The self-care routine, though, involves exercising, definitely exercising, eating healthy foods. And this is crazy because it's like, oh, how does this help your brain? Trust me, everything's connected. Exercising is the number one best possible thing that you can do. And do not procrastinate. If you procrastinate, then you'll feel guilty about not getting something done. And I still do this. And then guilt is my number one. Even if it's unfounded guilt for no reason, then, it's horrible mental problems. But take care of your body and the mind will follow. And then take care of your mind and the body will follow, right? But take care of the body. If you're struggling with the mind, if the mind's harder for you, take care of your body. And you'll start feeling better, and you need to love yourself. And I don't just mean the look of yourself. I just mean love yourself. And working out releases endorphins. So trust me on that. Basically, I've received a lot. Off the top of my head, maybe the first thing I'll say is, I was told a story that there was a guy who was, had a girlfriend, a long-time girlfriend. They were spending the weekend apart. They were in college. And she was going somewhere else, and he was going somewhere else, maybe home for the Thanksgiving weekend or something like that. And the entire weekend, for whatever reason, he was worrying that she was cheating on him. And so it ruined his entire Thanksgiving weekend, the whole thing, because he wasn't able to get a hold of her anyways. Not, doesn't really matter if he could get a hold of her or not. So when he went back to college to meet up with her, he kind of confronted her about it. And he, I'm shortening the story tremendously, but he had reason to believe that maybe that she was. And it turns out she was. So his entire weekend was ruined. But say she wasn't, then he would have been worrying and his entire weekend would have been ruined anyways. So don't worry about things that you cannot change, is the moral of that story. Way easier said than done. That was fun. I was happy to talk about that. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully we'll see each other again real soon. Peace.